Hello, everyone. Today is June 13th, and tomorrow we are going to have the Gemini full moon. And Gemini Sagittarius dichotomy is interesting because not because of the sign itself, because the sign is just one of 12, or well, actually two of the 12, and none of the signs are particularly above the other. Really, they are kind of equal. Of course, they represent different and various opportunities, learning abilities, and manifestations. But you can't say that any of the signs are higher in any sort of energy or any kind of point of view than the other. But if you look at the constellations, you will note that Sagittarius is in the middle, in the center of the Milky Way, and as such, it represents some sort of energy, cosmic energy, that is coming from there. This is a spiral galaxy, and whenever you look at the spiral galaxy, it has arms that are kind of opening up and surrounding you and giving you all kinds of goodies that you need. And this is something that some people are quite sensitive to, and they are able to kind of download or utilize this sort of energy. So this is Sagittarius. And if you look at Gemini, Gemini is at a certain point in the year when we are going towards the solstice, the summer solstice, the longest day, the most, the fullest of the sun energy. Okay, so in this dichotomy, in the Sagittarius Gemini dichotomy, you have two sources of very strong energy. And that's exactly what we may utilize in tomorrow's full moon. Now let's take a look at the chart itself. This is for London. In London, the full moon will become exact at 12:52 p.m. And as you can see, we have the sun and the moon on the midheaven and the IC, so it's quite prominent. And I show you. I'm going to show you a couple of other stuff within the chart. One is the two Liliths in the 10th house rising towards the midheaven. The astrology is revolt against injustice, and the black moon Lilith is the returning goddess who goes back to the Garden of Eden because she has some work to do. If you're interested in the Liliths, I have some videos out there, and you can look at the 3 astrological Liliths in detail. So, but here the two Liliths are very important because one is the revolt energy and the other one is the resolution energy, and they are joining. There's also here in this particular region of the chart, Taurus and early Gemini, Mercury just moved into Gemini in its own sign, so it's quite strong, supporting the Gemini sun. And Sedna, dissection, and of course creation through dissection, but the ability to dissect anything that is non-working, is at the end of Taurus. This is a TNO with an orbital period of over 12,000 years. And it's quite interesting because when Atlantis got demolished, that was exactly 12,500 years ago, and Sedna was exactly at this spot. And whenever I look at around the world, I have this feeling that we are running into the same destiny. We as mankind, we are destroying something that we could enjoy. If you look around and you see what these totally imbecile, dishonest leaders of the EU and also the United States are doing. They are disrupting what we are having. We could have the best of lives. We are rich, we are content, we have energy, we have a good life. We have a good life with many things that we couldn't even dream of 200 years ago. And they are trying to bomb us back into the Middle Ages. That's what they are doing for no reason. And I have no idea why they are doing. They might be this stupid or this dishonest. I have no idea which one, probably both. But what they are trying to achieve is that we should not use energy, we should not eat meat, We should eat insect instead. It's disgusting. This is what I'm saying. It's really disgusting. Now, Saturn-Mercury conjunction, which is a dissociate conjunction, as the Saturn is still in Taurus and Mercury is already in Gemini, gives us some answers. So you can actually look at what is non-working in your life and, of course, at large in the world, and you can understand how to repair it. The North Node is not exactly conjunct these these two planets and the asteroid Pallas Athena, but it is an applying conjunction, as these celestial objects are moving forward and the nodal axis is moving backwards. And the North Node in Taurus is really showing us what the task is, to create security and well-being and harmony and financial security. That's our job. Of course, Uranus is kind of disrupting this, but there's Venus as well. Venus in her own sign is very, very strong, and Pallas Athena gives it some wisdom, although we have to note that as archetypes, they are, again, polar opposites, because Venus is the lover and Pallas Athena is a single woman. Still, they can work together now at this time, in this space-time moment. You also have a Chiron Mast conjunction. This is the war, of course. Many karmic wounds are resurfacing through the war, but it also could show a moment in the war when things can turn around. And then on the descendant, you have Neptune setting, and Astrea. And if you take a good close look, you can see that Astrea is at the Juno-Neptune midpoint. Juno is the official wife, the first lady, or any important committed relationship. Neptune is transcendence, the arts, universal love. And this is what is combined or connected by Astrea, the karma breaker. So you can actually, that's why I feel that there could be, in the next 2 weeks, there could be some really important turn in the war. Have you noticed that no one is talking about peace? Zelensky is demanding more weapons. The stupid West is giving him more weapons and more money. It's ridiculous. Everyone should sit down and talk about peace. We need peace. The Africans are going to die of hunger. We are going to die of the cold weather, and we are going to disrupt everything we have. It's ridiculous for nothing, because it's not going to help the Ukrainians. Of course it's not. Okay, let's take a look at the transcendent, first the configurations. Here we have a trapeze around 23, 24 degrees of the signs. The sun, moon is the base. This is a classic trapeze. And the sides are, of course, sextiles. The inner content are two trines. So there's an inner stability and also harmony inside it. But the top of the trapeze, so this stage, is made of Saturn and Aries. Aries is drastically altered outward circumstances, the war and everything, the disruption you can see. And Saturn is trying to stabilize everything. Of course, in Aquarius, it is filled with ideology. Now, the problem with ideology is that you can't fuel it, you can't eat it, okay? So you might have the best ideology, but if it's not working in the real world, it's good for nothing. And this is something we might understand now. At the same time, there's a mutable T-square involving, again, the sun-moon opposition. And at the apex, you have Neptune. And Neptune is, in mundane sense, is, first of all, the ideological myth that is going on, and also all kinds of smokescreen and all kinds of deception. So this is a mutable T-square. So it might signify that it is coming to a crushing end. If you look at the communication and you look at the mainstream media, of course, you think that Zelensky is, of course, a hero, and he is right, and everyone should support him. And again, I'm not saying that this is a just war. I'm not saying that any war is just. I'm just saying that it's not what you see. This is a proxy war between actually either the United States and Russia, or I would say that if even China is involved, because for the Americans, the real threat is not Russia. The real threat is two areas. One is China, who is really threatening world supremacy. And the other one is the alliance between Russia and Europe, because if Russia and Europe could unite in some sort of agreement, then we could give the know-how and the technology, and Russia could give the resources. And that would make us much stronger than the United States. Of course, they won't allow it. Yes, so this is the war in essence. That's the reason for the war. Okay, and here you have the transcendental celestial objects. And again, I gave you the fixed stars. I gave you all the positions as well, which constellation and the magnitude. You can actually take a look how bright the star is. And this area in the solar, I mean in the sky, Gemini 22 to 24 degrees, is really stars scattered, because you have so many fixed stars here, bright, beautiful fixed stars that are really important. So that's why I gave the title for this Gemini full moon, Star Magic. This is really star magic. Sappho is conjunct the sun, and Sappho is not the lesbian. I mean, in karmic astrology, it doesn't denote the lesbian poetess, but it's quite interesting. It usually denotes some sort of common sacrifice, common death. It is very prominent in mass shootings, in mass accidents for some reason. What I gleaned about it is that it is prominent whenever some souls want to join in order to cross over, because on their own they don't have the stamina or the courage, and so it's denotes some sort of collective crossing over. So we will look at the news, and of course, don't forget that those victims who died in the last 2 weeks are going to cross over now at the full moon, because that is when the gates are opening. Full moon and new moon, that is when those who are coming down to the earth plane are crossing over to the earth plane energy field, and then those who died are going over as well. So there's a two-way traffic, so to speak. And here you have 4 very bright and beautiful fixed stars. Nilam and Mintaka are both belt stars of the Orion, Epsilon and Delta. So the 4th and the 5th brightest. And then you have Elnat, which is the beta star of Taurus, and Facht, which is a southern star, so you don't see it from the northern hemisphere. It's Alpha Columba, the dove, which actually signifies peace. And then on the moon you have Hypatia, who was the last librarian of the Alexandrian library, which was burned to ashes, and she was murdered. She was a mathematician. She's a very bright, beautiful woman. And Varda is one of the very nice TNOs. There are not too many nice ones. But Varda, he is the one of the main protagonists in Tolkien's, I think, the Silmarillion, who is the creator of the stars and the plants and the flowers. So it's a creator god, and so now you can create something with wisdom and coming from the soul. And then on Neptune you have Darius, wealth; Heracles, heroism; Themis, wisdom; and Okiro, she is the child of Chariklo and Chiron, who inherits both parents' knowledge and abilities, but she needs to hide them, so she turns herself into a horse and forgets to speak. And on Aries, you have Asteria. This asteroid denotes clairvoyance abilities, so tarot cards and all sorts of astrology as well. So if you use some sort of tool to be able to tell so it's like fortune telling, but in a good way, in a nice way. So And again, this again gives me hope that the war will come to an end certainly soon. Here are the fixed stars I wanted to show you. You can see that they are all scattered around everywhere. So it's not on none of them actually is on the ecliptic. And that is is the beta star of Taurus. So this is part of a zodiacal constellation, but even that one is not conjunct the sun, only aligned. But you can see that Mintaka and Anilam are the belt stars, so they are on the celestial equator, and Facht is a southern star, so it's you can never see Facht from the northern hemisphere. So this is why Bernard Brady suggested way back in 2005 we should not say the word conjunction with fixed stars. We should use alignment instead. So these stars are aligned with the sun, but still you can use them for magic. It's quite the timing for it. And here you have another configuration. This one is on the other side of the orbit of the orb, because the nodes are now at 22.5 degrees of the signs, and the sun is at 23.5 degrees. So actually the O4, the semi-sextiles are still there. We call this a bow tie. It's very similar to a mystic rectangle. The difference is that here, again, you have the inside, you have two oppositions, but the remaining aspects that are actually creating the rectangle are karmic aspects, semi-sextiles and quincunxes. So this is a very karmic, heavy moment in time where the sun and the moon are highlighting each other, illuminating. The sun is illuminating your subconscious, and your subconscious is illuminating back to your consciousness. And at the same time, it gives you the idea that there's a crossroad here between the past and the future, between karma and destiny. That is the space-time moment. And if you look at the transcendental celestial objects, I did not label now the sun and the moon. You can go back to the previous drawing where you have all these fixed stars and asteroids and centaurs. I am only concentrating on the north and south nodes. On the south node, which is the karmic past, you have two celestial objects, Atropos, which is the third of the fates, who is actually cutting the thread of life. So it's some kind of finality, some closing. And Deucalion, who was the son of Prometheus. And when Zeus wants to kill whole mankind by a deluge, he selects Deucalion and his wife as sole survivors, and they are going to start the new mankind. So it actually, it denotes some sort of survival skill, and also to be chosen. Those are the two main karmic issues with Deucalion. And on the south node in Scorpio, it means that we should remember that we already had this. We already destroyed our world 2,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago at the demolition of Atlantis. And we are at the exact same time period when we look at Saturn, because Saturn was in Taurus at that point as well. And the fact that on the south node in this particular full moon, we have Deucalion and Atropos, it suggests that we should really go back to the past, look back at abilities and capacities that are linked to Scorpio, magic, for instance, and we should understand that something is closing, but we can survive if we are intelligent enough. And then on Taurus, you have Memoria, Ishtar, Sophia, Phaethon, Socrates. These are asteroids, and two TNOs, Pelion and Alicanto, or one TNO and one Centaur. In karmic astrology, we use Centaur just like we use planets for even the sun and the moon. Okay, so it's like it's not an astronomical label, it's an astrological label in karmic astrology. Anyhow, Memoria again tells us we should remember. In Taurus, the south node and the north node in Taurus suggests that we need to create what we need to create: harmony, wealth, security. Okay, we should create an environment that is secure and where we can create further. And for this, we need to remember what we know, memoria. Ishtar is the creator goddess in Mesopotamia, so it's like a Venus and morning and evening star. She's the goddess of war and love. Sophie is wisdom. Socrates is philosophy. Phaeton denotes the catastrophe, the cataclysm that happened 12,500 years ago. So this is what we need to do now. Need to remember what happened and need to be wise and need to do something to avoid it again. And Period is our home. It's actually it's a hill, it's a mountain where you have caves, and this is where the centaurs live. So it usually either denotes our home environment, which we need to protect and cherish, or actually it also symbolizes the mountain of life which you need to climb, which we need to overcome. And then Alicanto, you have a whole video on Alicanto, and it is the bird that it's a mythical bird that eats precious metals, and if it eats too much, it's unable to fly, which for a bird is its main function. And to me, this denotes or is linked to the greediness of the powers that be, that are trying to really make a lot of money on this war, and it doesn't bother them that the whole world, and even, I mean, especially the whole Europe, is going to ashes. So that's it. That's the full moon. I do hope that the war is going to end soon, because if it's not ending, we are going to be in trouble. Africa is going to go into a famine period, and we will just freeze to death without the oil and gas that we used to have. Thank you for listening, and happy full moon. Bye-bye.